Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, That Model Railway Guy, and well, have you all recovered from Rapido's announcements yet? In case you don't know what's been going on, Rapido UK have recently made several exciting announcements in the lead up to their Rapido Railex event later this month. I was not only given the opportunity to head down to their offices and see what they've been cooking up, but Andy Hardy, who is the general manager for Rapido in the UK, was kind enough to sit down with me and have a chat on camera about all the new announcements and the thinking behind them. So let's jump straight into the interview. Here we go. So I have with me here Andy Hardy of Rapido Trains UK. Welcome to the channel, Andy.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. You've made quite a lot of exciting announcements this week, a lot of us to get into, which we will get into in a moment. But the first thing I want to start with is that this is sort of all in build-up to Rapido Railex, which is your very own exhibition, which is coming later this month. First off, why start your own exhibition?
Well, all the best things come in threes, and we thought, to be quite honest, there were sort of three background reasons. One is, why on earth not? We like doing things differently. We like to almost mess with people, have a bit of fun, do something different. So we've not done one before, so we thought, why not? Not many other manufacturers have done their own thing before. They tend to latch on to the other shows, so we thought, again, no good reason to. And our sister company in Canada also do open house events where they open the door of their warehouse and they invite retailers in, sometimes the public, they show off latest stuff, they get to talk to the staff and see where it all goes on. We really like the idea of doing that. It didn't really work in our building here in Staplehurst, so we thought we'd hire the market hall up in Maidstone, do an open house event, come to see us, and then we thought, you know what, there needs to be some other stuff there. So some layouts, some of our sort of friends within the business that have got other related businesses, some of our retailers, and then we'll develop it and do some really cool stuff that haven't been done at a show before, just to do something different and have some fun. So this isn't going to be a typical model railway show then, it's got a bit of a Rapido flair to it. Very much. So first and foremost, it gives people to come meet the team. So our team is based all around the country. We've got people in Scotland, people in Wales, Bristol, down here in Kent, the Northwest. So we're going to bring them all together. So if you want to come and meet the person that has designed a particular project, they will be there to talk to, which is really great. It also means that I can deflect people away from talking to me to go and talk to other people about things that I'm not as knowledgeable about. So that's really cool. Obviously, we'll have all our latest stuff there. We have got samples that are due to arrive literally in the week before the show. If they arrive in time, they will be there. We're going to take it all. We're going to take it all down there for people to see. Gives us a bit of space to grow that we wouldn't normally have at a show. We are going to invite some layouts that are sort of in our ethos, so there's some really different stuff coming. There's a lovely industrial layout. We've made lots of industrial models, and that's coming all the way from Belgium, hasn't been seen in the UK before. We've got layouts that have been on the exhibition circuit for a number of years, but are quite popular. So we've got Wendover, which is coming, doesn't do that many shows these days. We've got some brand new stuff that's being built. There'll be a couple of things being built, and there's stuff in other scales that we currently don't cater for, but you never know in the future. So there's some 009 there and all this sort of stuff as well. So we've gone for quality over quantity. So there's 18 layouts booked that we all think are a nice high standard, and you will probably see some of our samples out and about on some of those layouts. I was going to say, they've got areas of interest that tick with us. So that'll be really cool. And then on top of that, there's a couple of our official retailers. So there'll be people selling bits and pieces, not just our stuff, but other stuff. Model U, our friends over there are coming. So they're going to be doing some of their laser scanning and some of their figure sales. We do a lot of work with Model U. We really like the guys there. They help us develop all sorts of cool stuff. And then the last thing we're going to do is something brand new. We're going to do some custom wagon designing while we're there. Amazing. And so is this going to be a one-off style event, or is this going to be a teaser for perhaps, you know, to see how it goes and then maybe do it in other years as well? My favourite phrase is never say never. Who knows? Ask me after the show. I would love to do something regularly, maybe once a year. It could be every other year. We might do it in partnership with someone else. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how we can improve it, because that's the way I look at everything, is how can we make it better for us, the customers and everyone else. How much effort does it take in relation to the reward at the end of it? Let's see how it goes. But yeah, come along, because, you know, that might inspire a whole new show here in the Southeast. You mentioned the custom printing wagons, that we have some of the early samples here. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because that sounds really exciting. Absolutely. So, custom wagons aren't a new thing. They've been around for a long time. People do them with transfers, or you can go to other companies and get a run of custom wagons done. But there tends to be a minimum order, usually around about 100, if not more. Working with one of my members of the staff who owns a company called the Wagon Yard that he runs at the weekends.
Okay, yeah.
Mark does UV printing. It's really cool. It's really clever technology, and it is literally printing onto the side of a wagon. So we have taken some of our 1907 RCH wagons. We've set up 3 different templates that are based on styles that we're seeing. There's a couple of different font choices, and you can turn up at our show, you can hand over some money, you can sit with one of our graphic artists who will fill in the form with you. We'll then sit you down at a computer, design your wagon on the screen.
Oh, and so you actually get
see what it's going to look like laid out. You hand over your money, and a few weeks later, we will send you the printed wagon, one of one if it wants to be. So that is the ultimate limited edition.
It's really not like a minimum run. It
can be one. You can have a couple of them, or you can have one with number 1, one with number 2, and we'll send you that in the post. And the really cool thing about it is, unlike using transfers, there's no carrier film. It's a real printing technology, and short of getting up close with a magnifying glass, you would struggle to tell it's not a tampo print as per sort of batch wagons we would do. So it's a really cool technology, and I think it's going to be really popular.
Well, I was going to say, even sitting here, we're fairly close to these wagons here, and they just look like normal wagons to me. I mean, that, you know, obviously they've got the your text here on there, which would be replaced with whatever the viewers at home would want to replace it with. But in terms of printing, it really is just pretty much exactly the same as the wagons going behind us in the background there.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's not going to be the cheapest thing to purchase, but if you want something unique to your layout, or unique to you or your grandkids or your cat, your dog, your budgie, whatever, it's really, really cool. And yeah, it's taking technology, doing something really cool with it. Look how the world of figures changed with Model U when they came along with their laser scanning, and just the level of detail that changed away from, say, white metal figures or those sorts of things. We're hoping this is the idea, and we're going to offer it at our show. We're also going to do it at the National Festival of Railway Modelling up at the NEC, and then after that we're going to help Mark develop it as an independent business stream to develop it and make it available to people.
Incredible. It's fantastic. Well, sticking with wagons, let's move to some of the announcements of some of the things that you've recently revealed, because you've recently revealed the GNR Vans and the LMS Hoppers. Yeah. And I think you've made quite a lot of different wagons now, and I was sort of wondering, how do you decide what to make?
That is a really interesting and complicated question.
It's not a simple one, is it?
Not at all. So we will look at a wagon. You can look at it on a very low level and go, were there many of them produced? Do they carry many colours? Colours are really interesting, because what is historically common isn't necessarily what sells to modelers.
Right.
So the private owner wagons, for example, bright yellows, the bright blues sell better than the boring blacks, but the boring blacks were the common colours because they were cheaper to make.
Yes.
We look at what other rolling stock is there to go with it, are there locomotives to haul it, where in the country did it run, what era is it? So we take an awful lot of measurable metric data, look at that, we then run it through our calculations of how much is it going to cost to make this, what are the overheads, all of those things to come to a conclusion of whether something is worth making or not. We look at ranges as well, sometimes internally, sometimes externally, to try and frame whether we think this is going to be a wagon that sells well or not. Doesn't always go absolutely perfectly. We've had a couple of wagons where we thought this is going to be a sure seller because all the maths tells you, and it's maybe not as good as others, and there are some that have surprised us. It always surprises me that sometimes some of the fictitious or fun stuff sells better than the others. My favourite is the gunpowder van that's running around in this train.
I was just going to say that.
G-Forks gunpowder van, best seller out of all of the prototype ones, outside them all.
And of course, we've done some filming with that with the fireless locomotives as well, which it seems like a perfect.
Exactly. We've made a sort of fictional range, this tenuous connection of slightly silly things. Model railways are about mental health. Fundamentally, as all hobbies are, they're good for us. They make us feel good. We have fun. Not everyone will agree. Lots of people count rivets, and those people sometimes need to remember it's a hobby.
Absolutely.
But these fun things like G-Forks or an 01 in Bluebell blue colours, you know, we made it up, made a name up, and it's, you know, selling incredibly well. And we would like to challenge the Bluebell to paint theirs blue, but I don't think they'll bite that one somehow. But these fun things do really, really well. Our rejected liveries on social media constantly get really high traffic because people find them fun and interact with them. And I think actually there is a very large bit of the hobby that has almost got forgotten about in the quest for detail, about the quest for fun at the same time.
Absolutely.
So it's a little bit of a break away from traditional Rapido of trying to do things really, really properly, but it brings us as employees and workers fun, and it brings modelers fun. So actually we should be doing a bit more of that as well.
Yes. But then I suppose at the other end of that, you've got things like you've done the SECR wagons recently. Now you're doing an SECR loco to go with them.
Yep.
So you sort of said that you do try and have a little bit of a mini range there, kind of, but it's not just about you, it's about opening it up to what other manufacturers are making as well, what else is available in the hobby as well.
Absolutely. Modelers at the end of the day want to run trains generally. MPD layouts are fun, but people want to run trains, and it's really annoying if you've got a loco and no carriages to go behind it, or wagons or whatever. So we've looked to fill holes. There were lots of Chatham locos that had become available because it's a very pretty livery, lots preserved, but there wasn't any freight stock. So we did the wagons. They made sense. And then we kind of went, I need a brake van, and then I personally quite like the O1, as do other members of staff, and we all went, oh, come on then, let's put the O1 on the front. That really works, and we can also look at that with other manufacturers. There are various locomotives in various colour schemes available where there's no freight stock or passenger stock to run with them, so we might look to fill that void. We also, to a degree, know what's coming from other people. We do talk about stuff, so we kind of know some projects that are coming, and we think, this can slot in the middle here. It's all about just looking at the big picture and going, what do we think we can sell? Fundamentally, we are a business at the end of the day. What do we also like? What can we find drawings for? What can we get research material for? What can we get access to? And when all of the stars magically align, we get a model.
Fantastic. And so then, in a similar kind of way, we've got the Great Northern Vans, we've got the LMS Hoppers. Could we start to see more things that might, complement those in the future? A bit like we have with, various SECR wagons, various Great Western wagons that you've done in the past as well. Is that the start of a new range?
Yeah, quite possible. I'll give you a little scoop. There is some more LNER and LMS stuff to come in the future.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. And so I think now, one of the things I've been holding off talking about it, but I really want to get into it. The Evolution coaches, I think, this is something that will excite a lot of people. It will excite a lot of people in a good way. It will excite some other people in a bad way, perhaps, as well.
Absolutely.
Just in case you've been living under a rock for the last week or so, can you just quickly explain what the Evolution coaches are?
Okay, so Evolution coaches are our take on a range of prototypically literate, is how we're describing it, range of coaches.
Right.
So our view here a little bit is that if you look at pre-group coaches of, say, the South East and Chatham, there's lots of different diagrams and lots of different designs. The chances of us making all of those properly are fairly slim. There's not a huge amount of modelers that model them. Yeah. And then when you take into account there are then multiple pre-grouping companies, you've got the Chatham, the Brighton, the Great Western, the Great Central, the Great Northern, the North British, and that's before you get into Scotland or into Wales or anywhere else. We're not going to see mass range of coaches for all of them. There just isn't a market to be able to do that. Yeah. You're going to spend tens of thousands of pounds tooling up coaches to not make enough sales. You're not going to make any money. You're in a bad place.
You're just limiting yourself
very
too much.
So what we've done is we've taken a really hard look at carriage designs of the era we're looking at and gone, okay, what are all the right sort of bits that if we put them together in the right order, we can make something that would be similar to a South Eastern Chatham coach or similar to a Great Western coach of that period. We've taken that design, we've taken all those bits, designed a modular set of tooling that allows us to do 3 different roof profiles. So we've got standard arc, elliptical and clerestory roofs. On top of that, we can then do gas or electric on all of those.
Incredible.
We've then got 3 different bodies that allow us to do a brake third, a all third and a first third composite. We've then got standard underframe, standard bogies, but then footboards. So you can have double footboards, single footboards, no footboards, guards footboards or full bogie footboards. Add all of those together and you can start to select bits. So you can turn around and go, that pre-grouping company used elliptical style roofs on their coaches. So we'll use that type of roof, but they tended to use electric lighting. We select the right bits, put it in the right colours, and voila, you've got a little range of coaches that would look right behind many of the pre-grouping locomotives made by us or other manufacturers. Yeah. They're not perfect, and the people that want perfect, go build a kit, crack on. But it gives you something that you can take out of the box. We know lots of people collect locomotives. They're not quite as picky about coaches, so we thought we'll give this a go. And of course, all of this is based on evidence of the past where a certain manufacturer in the past might have made some 4- and 6-wheelers that did very, very well commercially.
Yes, and so I think the key thing to really highlight here is that this isn't just a standard body that you're then slapping different liveries on. You're actually going through and getting all the different little details. It's not, like you say, it's not perfectly prototypical, but it's right enough for the vast majority of modelers that, someone like myself who I'm not particularly au fait with, all the intricacies of each pre-grouping company, yeah. I would look at it and go, yes, it looks like an SECR or a Great Western or whatever,
Exactly. Prototypically literate.
Yes.
So, yeah, you look at the Midland and people think clerestory coaches. Same for the Great Central. You look at LNWR and you think, an arc roof. We can take those bits, we can apply them the right way, which when you couple them with the livery, gives you something that if you caught it out the corner of your eye, you would think it's the right coaches. Yeah. And when you look at it in depth, you go, well, it's not a perfect diagram, but it's something close enough. Yeah. And we think there are an awful lot of modelers who will like that.
And You alluded to the fact a little bit earlier on that I think it was the Hatton's Genesis coaches
Absolutely,
you maybe
yes.
mentioned there. That, but obviously you now have Dave Milett on your team. He now works for Rapido. So is it fair to say that this is a development of the Genesis project that came before?
In many ways, it sort of is. So yeah, Dave worked at Hatton's. Dave was the designer behind Genesis. When Hatton's closed up shop, Dave came and worked for us. I had a relationship with working with Dave on various projects in the past, which included doing a bit of research for Genesis and the P-Class. So you can see where some of these things are linked. Yeah, Dave always wanted to do a bogie coach version, but it never went any further than an idea. Dave joined us, pitched the idea to me. We talked about it a few times, and I wasn't quite sure. It wasn't quite the Rapido thing, because we tend to like to do all the serious stuff. But it niggled away. I mean, we thought, let's give this a chance. I had a visit from Jason, who is the owner of Rapido from Canada,
Okay, yeah.
and I quietly asked him his opinion in the back of the office one afternoon, showed him some sort of sketches and said, we could do this is what we can do, this is how we can develop it, and Jason went, go for it. What you won't believe is from that point until the point where we sent the PO off to start the tooling process was 28 days.
28 days?
Absolutely. We threw everyone at it. So Dave started drawing up sketches, and I think it took us 2 or 3 days to do the spec. We drew out how we wanted the compartments to be, how many there'll be, roughly how things are going to look. We then got 2 CAD designers working on it, both that are based in the UK, one in Scotland, one down here in Kent. One started on the underframe, one started on the top. We work with CAD software, it's in the cloud, so they can work collaboratively. All the way through it, myself and Dave were looking at it from a higher level about how the tooling is going to work. All the interiors are modular, lots of the exterior bits are modular, which allowed us to kind of put it all together. We started selecting liveries, and yeah, by the end of 28 days, we had a set of 9 SKUs that are the first set of pre-groupings planned. We had the artwork for those done, and we sent it off into tooling, which was about a month ago now. So somewhere in the world there is actually something physical of evolution already. It won't quite be here in time for Railex, but we do hope we will have it in time for the National Festival of Railway Modelling up north in a couple of months' time. It's really exciting.
That's incredible. So you really haven't hung about with these, and it's been a very quick turnaround.
Absolutely, yeah. We kind of thought, let's give it a go. Let's see how if we can get it out in time for Railex. It was a project that lots of us really wanted to buy into. We were really excited about. Yeah, making sure it was spec'd right at the beginning, giving the team the stuff the research materials they needed, loads of drawings already available, meant that we could very quickly get our heads together, work out what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do it, and then the team went on. And it was almost day by day, you could see things, you know. We basically designed a compartment and then multiplied that third class compartment and then added the first class compartments, and an underframe came and bogies came and roof profiles. So almost every couple of days there was something really visual to see. Really quite amazing.
And it's all just cool. Really come together then.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned the sort of the modular style of tooling that you've used for this, and I believe that's something that you've used on Wagons in the past to allow you to do different versions of that. Was this kind of then the logical next step to sort of progress that on a bit further? Yeah,
it was exactly the same idea of, you know, it's very easy to start tooling up this bit and that bit and everything else, and suddenly you've got this huge tooling suite, and actually you're not using all the parts particularly well or in the right way. So yeah, by making interior partitions and walls and seats the right way meant we could reuse the same component. The factory can just make them en masse, which means they can help keep the unit cost down. We're very aware we wanted to keep the price reasonable for these. They're high quality coaches, but people might want multiple liveries, so we didn't want them to be too expensive. We managed to keep them roughly in line with other people, which is really
great,
good.
Yeah.
But things like, you know, even down to the decoration, the interior decoration will be the same across the range.
Right.
Most coaches, you know, pre-groom coaches, yeah, red and blue interior maquette was fairly common. Yes, someone might have used brown, but rather than changing all the paint masks over and everything else, which increases the cost, we've tended to try and standardise on some bits, including colour and fitments, but leaving enough modular bits that I don't think there are two sets of liveries, different companies, where the tooling is the same as something else.
And presumably as well, when you get your little Model U figures sitting in there, you're not necessarily going to be able to see the
No, exactly.
It's not going to be enough of an issue that, you know, that it's going to put people off going, oh, well, it's the wrong shade of blue.
No, exactly. I mean, they are, at the end of the day, they are fictitious to a degree.
Yeah.
So, yes, there'll be people who don't like them, and the advice I give them is don't buy them. You know, I'm not upset about that. There's a lot of people who I think will like this. It's really, really great. And as you say, the Model U figures in them, you know, we've got removable removable roofs, there's lighting in all of them. So we're going to bring that detail out. There's maps and mirrors inside them.
Incredible.
And then again, like we're doing on the B sets, there'll be the pop-out windows so that you can have the drop lights on the doors either half open or fully
fantastic.
open again. So
okay.
that's really, really cool.
So then if you want to get yourself hanging out of a window, you come down to Rapido Railex, you get yourself scanned in that position, then you can pop yourself in.
Absolutely. Come and see Alan and the team at Model U. They, to show you how we've worked with other people, they've got a set of the CAD already, so they'll be able to make people that will fit in seats or whatever. So yeah, it's a really a collaborative process, not just internally, but with other partners to offer something back into the hobby. There's no point in just us producing everything. So working with Model U and other people mean that you can take your coach, you can customise it, you can add stuff to it, and that's really exciting. And that's what modeling's about.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, you've got your 3 packs, you've got your single packs, you've got, was it 9 different liveries you said in this initial run, and you've got potential more runs for the future, maybe?
On paper, there is another 2 runs of liveries we've identified. There could be other liveries. There could also then be developments in the tooling. So we might do an all first class coach, might do an all brake. We're open to see how this goes, what direction we're going. We look forward to getting feedback, both positive and criticism from people. And we'll see where it goes and whatever. And who knows, we might do a corridor version in the future. There's all sorts of things we can do. I think I've got more ideas than we have physical time. Let's see where it goes, but it is really exciting.
Well, it's a good way to have it more ideas than time there. But does that mean with all these different potential variations then that this is one of the biggest projects that Rapido has ever worked on?
It depends how you define biggest projects. It was a big project because there was lots of artwork, there's lots of liveries, there's lots of colour, there's lots of tooling. But in terms of the tooling suite, it's not as big as you think because we've designed it cleverly to use slides to give you the different ends. So I still think the award for that goes to the S160 because that's got all the different pipes and tenders and pumps and running boards. There's so many bits out there that just sort of expands out. But the return on a locomotive is usually better than coaches, so we don't mind doing it. It's all a balance. But we've looked at this to go, we need to tool enough stuff to make it different, to make it exciting and prototypically illiterate enough that it works, but also not to run away that it becomes £90 a coach where people are going to go, not so sure. So it's always a balancing act, and that's where sort of Muggins as the manager really sometimes has to take it away from being my hobby and look at it as a slightly different
what's actually
exercise.
Realistic of can be made.
What's the customer's expectations? What can we physically do? What can be afforded? What's the factory going to like? Because sometimes we could give them 9 different pre-grouping coaches that have so many different bits on them that the factory say we don't want to do this project because it's too much for them. Yeah. So it's a real juggling act, and it's something I never really appreciated until I came and took this role.
Incredible. Well, best of luck with it. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be very excited about this project, myself included.
Yeah, that's good.
Something else that I think a lot of people have been excited about since it's been announced, Ivor The Engine. I mean, when you first told me about this, I think it was back in March at Ali Pali. I think my jaw just hit the floor when you told me. Just tell us a bit about the project.
Yeah, Ivor is one of those projects that I think it'll bring a smile to many people's faces, and those that it doesn't, I think need their head looking at. So Ivor's wonderful. It's one of those things that brings back really fond memories of childhood. I mean, the black and white series, the colour series.
It really has been around for a long time.
It's been around late 50s.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And there's a lot of people who know it, that have grown up with it. But even people in our generation have seen it because, the latest DVD release of it, remastered, was 2023, I think. There's been books in the 2000s. It's been around forever. BBC Wales used it to launch their service with a new set of cartoons. There was audio books during COVID. It's been around forever. It's in people's heads. And it's a really cool project because we're taking something that is inherently very 2D and very stylized, and we're taking it into the 3D world, which allows us a little bit of leeway, but we've also got to be faithful because there'll be people who will be a little bit upset if we go too far the wrong way.
Yeah, that must have been a challenge in itself.
It's been a real challenge because you look at the animations and they change. So the way it was put together was cardboard cutout shapes and bits that was layered together in a stop motion click, and then you do the next bit. And the way they made rolling stock, for example, is if the wheels were spinning around because it was moving, they put the wheel over the top of the axle box.
Okay, right.
So it was an inside axle box wagon. But then when it was stationary, they took the wheel away and left the spoked wheel behind it. So we've had to kind of decide, okay, are we doing inside or outside spokes? Yeah. We've done some common underframes for some of the wagons. The coach has different tooling to other bits. So yeah, we've had a lot of fun with this. And then putting a crossover in between the 2D and the 3D world has made it even more fun.
And I was going to say as well, this is not just you're doing Ivor The Engine. There's a whole range to go with this.
Yeah, so we pitched the idea to Daniel Postgate, who was the son of Oliver Postgate,
Yeah.
one of the two creators, Oliver Postgate and Peter Firmin at Small Films. Pitched the idea to him and said, we've done Tipfield, would like to do something similar. No one needs this, but we're hoping lots of people will want it because it's great fun. Here's an idea, can we do it? And the original idea was just to do Ivor and maybe a pair of wagons in a box. And we kind of went, that's not really good enough, is it? We need to do a bit more of a Tipfield thing with it. And Tipfield, of course, had a book in the deluxe pack and some figures. So we kind of went, let's do a bit more. So we thought, okay, we'll do a nice box. So there's a really nice bit of box artwork that I think people will like. And we went, yeah, it's okay, but we need to do a bit more than that. So we added 2D figures. These figures are taken from the original animations, and they'll be on little wargaming bases, so you can pose them around your model.
Incredible. And so they'll look exactly like
they are exactly the same at the content. So that's really cool. So there's going to be an Idris the Dragon, a Jones the Seaman, a Die Station in the pack. Really good. Oh, and some sheep. Can't miss the sheep. It's Wales. That's really, really cool. And then we thought, yeah, that's okay. We need to do something better. So the sound versions, we've managed to get hold of the original audio. So the sound versions
I was just
are
going
going
to
to
say, are we
be
getting a DC sound
yeah,
version?
DCC sound versions have got Oliver Postgate's voice doing pish to cop, and all the other bits. There's the bassoon player playing the theme tune, and there's the top left-hand corner of Wales stuff. So that's going to be really, really fun.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's okay, but we need to do a bit more. So there's working headlamps, but there's also a glowing dragon's egg in the firebox. The door's going to be ajar.
Oh,
there's going to be a
wow.
little egg inside it. Couldn't miss that
Oh,
one
so
out.
I mean, like I was going to say Easter eggs, but I mean, it basically is
Quite,
an actual...
quite literally. So we did that, and we thought, that's not bad, but we could do with a bit more than that. So we've taken from the original animations, one of our graphic artists, Dan, who is in Wales, it had to be his project, has stitched together and made a cardboard fold-up engine shed and water tower that will be in the back. So you better punch them out, fold them up and glue bits together, and you'll get Ivor's engine shed with the notice on the door and the phone inside. And the water tower next to it, so you can have some bits to pose around Ivor for a bit of fun. And we thought that was quite good, and we thought that's still not quite good enough. So we then pitched one other idea to Daniel Postgate. Daniel is an illustrator and a story writer and makes films well. And we pitched him the idea of how about doing a brand new Ivor the Engine story. And Daniel agreed.
Incredible.
So Daniel is writing us an exclusive brand new story.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Which will be illustrated and will be in the main set. So you get an engine and DCC version. If you go that way, you get wagons, you get a nice box, you get some people, you get some fold-up buildings, and you get a brand new Ivor story. And we thought, do you know what? That's good.
That's good. I mean, that's incredible. And you're really at the point there, that's not just a set, that's an entire layout, or the basis of one at least.
You know, it's very tactile. The 2D bits will be really interesting. We want granddads to be able to sit with their grandkids. Maybe they'll go and watch, find an old episode of Ivor to watch, buy the DVD. And it goes full circle. I grew up with it. I love it. I love the idea of building a layout for it. So actually building sort of slightly cartoon scenery. There's something fun there. We've already had a couple of journalists that we talked about stuff. One of which has already said, I'd like to build something for a magazine if we can.
Got me thinking about doing
yeah. But I also want to see them run on people's serious layout. You go to exhibitions and you see the odd Thomas. Now you get Thunderbolt, and now I want Ivor to go past. It should be fun. It's that mental health thing of enjoyment, of reminiscing. It's nostalgia mining. So we did all of that and thought, let's give it a go. But thinking that an Ivor pack wasn't enough, we then decided to expand it even more. So there's also going to be a rolling stock pack.
Incredible.
So there's a coach, which is not based on any one particular coach because they change a lot. There's the Grumbly Gasworks hopper wagon, which I like because it's a nice shape.
Fantastic.
And there's going to be a flat wagon with a couple of crates on it, and the crates are going to have some posters on them that link back to, or a nod back to, other Small Films cartoons as well.
Oh, brilliant.
So that'd be really cool. And then, of course, that's not good enough, so there's more figures in there. So there's going to be an Evans the Song, a choir, and Mrs. Porty, I think. And then there's going to be a station building kit and a set of platforms. So if you buy the 2 packs, there's enough that if you put it on a train set 4x2 board or something, you can start making something Ivorish that's fun. And I hope it will inspire some other people to do stuff.
Yes.
And just have fun.
And like you say, I think that's been the prevailing theme, is that this hobby is about having fun and enjoying ourselves. And
absolutely.
we can forget that a little bit at times.
Yeah, and I think people forget it in different aspects. It's very easy for the modelers to forget that it's a hobby and I'm doing this for fun. They're counting rivets, they're getting upset about the smallest of things rather than forgetting actually this should be fun and bringing back some nice memories.
And that's, of course, not to say that there isn't a place for the detail side of things, but it's about remembering to sort of remember why you're doing it in the first place.
Remember why you're doing it in the first place, and remember where it's come from. All of these things are born out of something. They're born out of seeing real engines out on a railway thundering past, so people want to recreate that rather than just have it on a mantelpiece. There's people that remember Ivor The Engine, Tipfield, all sorts of things like that. And actually, I think the hobby is such a wide church and such a broad church that we forget there are people out there who I say they want a train set. It's not like a train set in a derogatory term, but they just want to run trains and what they feel like. And that's where Ivor and Evolution all come into their own. And actually, I think we should cater for some of those people, along with our LMS Hoppers, where we quite literally counted all the rivets on it to get it right. There's a difference between the two. And I think
it's catering for both sides.
Catering for both, and sometimes just accepting both of them. I think some of the internet forums sometimes think it should only be one way, and they forget that actually there's people out there just have fun. And the majority, I think, are actually quite silent on the subject.
Well, that's the
thing.
You
see the same people shouting loudly, rather than, it's very easy to write a snotogram because you don't like something, but writing praise is not as common. But I think at the end of the day, sales figures show you what works there, and things like Tipfield. It's really interesting. G-Forks, Wagons, Blue 01s, they all actually quite often outsell other individual SKUs.
And going back to the Evolution coaches as well, presumably you have that sort of benefit of being able to look at the success of the Genesis coaches to kind of go, okay, well, this seems like a more realistic
I mean, absolutely. We could see that there were 2 batches of those. There were obviously people buying them, so it gives you a fairly comfortable ground to say that there's going to be some people who are likely to buy these.
Fantastic. Well, I think the main thing then is to finish up. If people want to come and see all the samples, the various bits we've got here behind, we've got the 01 colour samples now as well. We've got the UV printing Wagons. Anything else that people want to talk to you guys about as well is to come down to Rapido Railex on the 27th and 28th of September. That's not long away now. So yeah, by the time this video goes out, I guess you'll be running around trying to get everything ready and...
We are already running around trying to get everything in the right place at the right time in the right order. It is like Ivor herding sheep, quite literally at the moment. But do come and see us. We love talking to people. We might look tired by the time the show happens, but we love seeing people. We love both positive messages. We also like hearing criticisms. We take it on board. We want to get it back. We can't make everything happen, but Railex is your opportunity to come down, see us, talk to us in person, find out who was designing what, and sometimes the whys. Talk to us, give your ideas for the future, buy some cool stuff, do some cool stuff. We've got samples that are due to arrive between now and then in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Fingers crossed, touch wood, we might have some colour B-set coaches, for example.
Fantastic.
If they arrive, and as long as they're showable, they'll be in the cabinets for people to see. It really is people's opportunity to come and get up close and personal with us in the nicest possible way, and find out about stuff. And we're putting it on because we want to meet and talk to people. So come and see us.
Incredible.
It'll be good fun.
Lots of exciting announcements. Sounds like the show's going to be really exciting as well. I'll be there as well, milling around on the weekend. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, Andy, today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
So I hope you all enjoyed that. If you have and you'd like to see more interviews like this in the future, then please do let me know down in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel and would like to see lots more great model railway content, then please do subscribe. You're very welcome to jump aboard. Again, a big thank you to Andy for taking the time to chat with me. And don't forget, you can meet all the Rapido team at their exhibition in Maidstone on the 27th and 28th of September. I'll be there as well too. Don't let that put you off though. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.